welcome. It's the NORA Cup Series 2023, Season 3, Race 20. As always, it's presented by Abby's Sweet Treats Home Bakery, and you're going to be watching it live right here. It's iRacing on VirtualRacing.Network, and tonight, the NORA Cup Series takes to Nashville Super Speedway. Should be a lot of fun here. You want to call it a 1.5 mile oval because it's shaped so much like those cookie cutter 1.5 miles, but it's 1.33 miles around, 54 laps in the first stage, 111 in the second, and 180 overall tonight. Hello again, everybody. I'm Trevor Greenfield, and as always, I am so thrilled to be joined here in the booth by none other than NORA veteran and team owner Christian Snyder. And Christian, welcome. As always, this should be a lot of fun here tonight. Great track that the Real Life Series seems to have a lot of fun at. What can we expect out here tonight for the NORA Cup Series?
Oh, just like every week, you're going to expect a great show from these NORA guys. They put on a good show no matter how many cars they got, how many, whatever track they're at. It's a good show. Even road courses, it's been a great show for these guys. So I can't wait to see how these guys tackle Nashville, the Music City. I love it. I'm listening to country music in the background because we're here at Nashville. I can hear it out in the parking lot out there. So I can't wait.
Well, I love how you go full method getting ready for these races, but I hear you. I saw Nashville and I thought, how cool. Of course, it's located just outside of Nashville in Lebanon, Tennessee. But tonight, as you can see, about a 9-mile-an-hour breeze and going to be a little over 100 degrees on the track. Might be cooling down a little bit as the event goes on, but that should lead to a little bit of tire degradation early on. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our points as they stand here coming into this race. Vincent Arthur last week at Sonoma doing a fantastic job taking pole position, but of course he did not take victory. And for those of you that did watch here on VirtualRacing.Network, it was exciting stuff to see newcomer Ryan Bird kind of come out of nowhere in his debut and be able to not only pull off some strategy that caught Vincent by surprise with electing to not change tires, but taking the victory overall, and that was some sensational stuff. As a result, he's already punched his ticket to the NORA Cup Series playoffs here for this season. Additional drivers you see that are already guaranteed to get into those playoffs, you see them right there in yellow on your screen. Ronnie Norman, Brady Motes, Matthew George, Joey Stats, and Dustin Kleba. Those drivers already ready to go. Cameron Thompson, as a result of Ryan Bird coming in and getting that win, is now pushed out of the playoffs. So a lot of these drivers are going to be having to come in and do something special here tonight and going forward. So let's go ahead and take one more look over here where the owners' points are actually changing up quite rapidly. A little change in the top there for the Flatline Motorsports teammates, just exchanging positions. And you see JRC Sim Team now getting into that podium position. Ready to Wreck Racing also gaining a spot. But it's a little bit further back where Nightmare Motorsports has had a couple of exchanges, one of the cars dropping down. And that's just a result of not being able to get out there and get points for a week. So those owner points very valuable, and so now tonight we'll have a much more full field. And Christian, also we're going to have a lot of exchanges in terms of drivers driving for different teams subbing in. So a couple of drivers racing for teams that may not recognize out there, but we'll try to do our best to fill you in. And then in addition, some cool special edition paint schemes that we'll be running for tonight as well.
Yeah, we got new drivers in new places. I think 5 different drivers tonight now, including some new drivers. And then, the Nightmare cars doing neon nights, so it looks really nice. Can't wait to see those cars racing here in a little bit. And tonight, I'm not a fan of Nashville personally, the track itself, but I am a fan of the city. I like the high banks, the fast corners. These guys got to slow down a good bit in these corners. And I'm a driver that likes to put the pedal to the metal and don't use the brakes ever.
Well, why? They just slow you down. That's what my
yeah, exactly, right?
That's what my dad used to say when we go kart racing. Why use those brakes?
I don't need them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, of course, they do help to turn the car. That was really important last week, especially with turning into corners. But it helps so much to get the car set properly in the corner. As we take a look over here and see Matthew George for Flatline Motorsports just putting in 9th fastest lap. And we did see Vincent Arthur. He actually wasn't on screen, but Vincent Arthur has now put in the top time of the night. So picking up kind of where he left off last week. Also, a salute paint job. The last time that we'll be seeing this for the next few races at least. This is the Abby's Sweet Treats Home Bakery livery that Ronnie Norman has already run this season, but he's bringing it back out here again tonight. And it's always so great to be able to get the word out about Abby's Sweet Treats. We'll get a chance to talk a little bit more about them here in just a minute. Chad Engel for Brian Powell Motorsports getting in his lap. Only good
Dustin
enough
Kleba,
for 15.
top of the board.
How about that Dustin Kleba? He's back in business. He had to sit out last week. Had some business to attend to, but he was missed. And out there with his Arctic Vibe car paint job, he is setting Nashville on fire with that lap, up by 8/100ths of a second. And I believe that's going to be our final runner to get in a time. So we'll be able to show that here momentarily. But why don't we go ahead and talk about something truly sweet here, Christian. That's Abby's Sweet Treats Home Bakery, of course, the proud presenting sponsor of the NORA Cup and Truck Series. And here you can see some of the goodies, chocolate chip cookies, really well-designed baked cookies that you can get for your parties, kids' parties, wedding showers, all of that kind of stuff. Perfect opportunities for mom and for all of the holidays are upcoming. Hey, it's going to be the 4th of July. Just start thinking in the future. You got something cool coming up. You got a kid's birthday coming up. Here's mermaid cookies, all kinds of fun things. I saw some dinosaur cookies over on Abby's Facebook page, and here you can see it on your screen. Abby, the owner, out of Plymouth, Minnesota, 812-264-1624, abcobb@gmail.com on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and Twitter. It's been so fun to get to talk about Abby's Sweet Treats. And with that, Christian, I believe that's going to take us to time to get this thing gridded up and talk about who's going to be starting where. So I think Dustin Kleba will be the one that we'll be talking about first. He's taken pole position here for Nashville. Congratulations to him. And starting alongside will be Vincent Arthur for Flatline Motorsports. And then starting on the second row, Tom Senchak for Late Apex Racing. We had heard that he would be joining, and great to see him that he has actually joined. So great to have him out there for the race. Let's see if we can.
Yeah, his teammate Ryan Bird starting right beside him there as well.
That's pretty exciting stuff. You should feel pretty confident about that. But it's always tight quarters heading into turn one, so we'll see whether that can work out. But always great to have your teammates starting nearby. There in that third row, Brandon Jenks for JRC Sim Team, and he'll be starting next to Blade Timmons, who we haven't seen for a while for Harper Motorsports. On that fourth row, Matt Tucker for Nightmare Motorsports and Brandon Dunford. And on the fifth row will be Brady Moats and Matthew George. If you want to take the 11th.
Yeah, I can take 11th. 11th, you got Jacob Gladelich and Jake Christenberry starting beside him in 12th. Behind them here, we got Timothy Harper and Adam Mikulakowski. On back, we got Chad Engel and Ronnie Norman. Pretty far back in the field for Ronnie Norman. Usually we see him up toward the front, but I'm sure very shortly we'll see him toward the top 10. Behind him, you got Zach Hollinger and Chris Heights filling in for Cody Height tonight. Cody Height not able to make the race. And then behind them, unable to get qualifying laps in tonight, Josh Conover, Cody Reeder, and Justin Moody rounding out the field.
So a nice field out there tonight. A couple of drivers that we haven't seen out here for a couple of weeks, but this is really kind of the last chance for some of these drivers that have been sitting out a few weeks to still get into those playoffs. And exciting to see a number of drivers ready to join and do some battle out here, and some fresh, very skilled blood in this NORA Cup Series between Kleba, Bird, Senchek, Matt Tucker back there. Who can forget, as well as all of these regulars that have been so excellent over the course of this season. Everybody from Vincent Arthur to, of course, Brady Moats sitting in third in the championship. So with that, we're just about to kick this one off and go green.
Green.
And Barney the flag man waves that green flag. We are underway here in Nashville.
And a really good start there for Kleba. Going to clear Vincent Arthur before turn one. And now Senchak underneath Vincent Arthur trying for second here. But I think Vincent going to have the momentum on the outside and will clear for second place.
He does clear for second place. They line 1, 2, 3, 4, but a lot of movement back here in fourth and fifth position. That's Blade Timmons having a bit of an issue, squeezing to the inside, and now he'll get it straightened out. Brendan Jenks just behind as well, just trying to get into position. They've exchanged spots from where they started, and then we see Matt Tucker in one of those neon lights cars that you were talking about out there, hanging on in that 7th spot. And that number 3.
I do want to update real quick. Blade Timmons, we made a mistake there. He is running for JRC Sim Team tonight. He's one of those drivers with a new ride on a new team. So Timmons over in a Chevy now instead of a Ford.
Well, we'll make sure that we get that updated behind the scenes.
Good battle here between the 77 of Jenks, Moats, and we got the 3 of Tucker here, all within a blanket here. Good run from Moats on the outside there.
So Moats getting a nice run on the outside, but of course up at the front, it is Dustin Kleba who still manages to hold on to that top spot. He's just set the fastest lap of the race. Vincent Arthur in second. Tom Senchek in third. Ryan Bird in fourth. And now Blade Timmons for that JRC Sim team. He's managed to sneak a position on Brendan Jenks for his teammate there at JRC. So now he is up into fifth and Brendan back into sixth. Top 2 JRC Sim Team cars at the moment. And then we're looking a little bit further back. There's Brady, as we were just talking about, for Ready to Wreck Racing. He's up 2 spots right now. Matt Tucker dropping back a spot for Nightmare. So already these drivers starting to really feel out Nashville. Let's take a look at what Vincent Arthur can see. He's got certainly Dustin Kleba in sight and is just trying to hang on at this moment. And I tell you, Christian, it's kind of been that same story that we've been seeing. We've been seeing this a lot here since Kleba joined. It's been pretty much Kleba showing the way up in the front for KPR Motorsports.
Yeah, he's been doing that for a few seasons. This season, no different. He's definitely one of the top drivers I've ever seen on iRacing. So he's going to be tough to beat week in and week out. And Vincent Arthur, you know, he's getting better. He's getting to a point where he can battle Kleba sometimes, but sometimes Kleba is just lights out. And, you know, Vincent's close enough tonight that I think he could put up a fight later in the race because they were right there in times throughout practice. There were 12 cars within 0.2 of a second of each other, so a lot of guys really finding this track pretty easy for them.
Well, certainly doing what he needs to do at the moment. Vincent Arthur had just set the fastest lap of the race so far, but as we switch over, take a look at that driver in the third spot for the first time here on VirtualRacing.Network. Tom Senchek for Late Apex Racing, setting fastest lap of the race here on lap number 8, and this is some exciting stuff that's brewing here, as we've got now 3 very talented drivers all vying for position. And who can forget Ryan Bird last week taking victory at Sonoma? We wondered whether he would have that same level of talent to be able to challenge here at an oval like Nashville. A mile and a third around, kind of classic D shape, a little bit higher banking. And so far, he's able to hold that late Apex car in 4th place. So looking at these top 3, though, still very close, separated by only 0.4 of a second.
Yeah, with late Apex coming in, they're so far proving pretty good right now. You know, we obviously saw Ryan Bird win last week and get the pole as well. And now this week you see both cars in the top 5 to start the race. And it looks like Tom Senchak might have a run here on Vincent Arthur. He's going to maybe look low. Now he's going to just tuck in line here. It looked like he was going to have a run out of 4. But he will just slot in here in 3rd so far. And an update, I said Ronnie started pretty far back, and I told you he would be in the top 10 pretty quick. It's lap 11. He's already in the top 10, so look for him to come through the field along with Cody Reeder. We usually see him up toward the front of these races, so we got to see if Cody Reeder can come up through the field.
Well, and also seeing that Josh Conover did not get in an official qualifying lap, and that's nothing strange, but he's one of these drivers that you can certainly expect to be working their way through the field. And right now, if we take a look, you'll notice in this graphic right now on the right-hand side, those green and red fonts represent gain or loss in terms of position. And if you're looking at that, you're already seeing that Ronnie Norman has climbed 7 spots already tonight. Josh Conover sitting just a few positions back in 12th place. He's also gained 7 spots. And we bump back here to Cody Reeder, who's fighting for 15th place with Zach Hollinger. Cody in that number 85 for KPR Motorsports on the inside. They get a little close to each other and have to take a little evasive action, but Cody gaining 5 spots so far. So already these movers and shakers that you would expect to be coming through the field are doing exactly that.
Yeah, and I was watching Cody Reeder's qualifying effort. He got real loose coming out of turn 2 and tank slapped the wall and ended up in the inside wall. So that is why he was unable to get a lap in. So that's unfortunate for Cody, but I'm sure he'll be within the top 10 before tonight's over.
We look forward to that, but here right now we momentarily had a new 2nd place as Tom Senchak. He's not taking... He's not trying to be intimidated by Vincent Arthur one little bit. He may be the points leader, but Tom Senchak is going to send it. He's trying to snag that 2nd place. He did for a moment, but now he's been fighting side by side, and he'll think better of it. Try and recharge and go again and see if he can try and take that spot. Meanwhile, you see Ryan Bird dropping off the pace just a little bit. Now about a 20 car length gap between Senchak and his teammate Ryan Bird for late Apex. But you look there in 2nd place, that's Vincent Arthur. He is the points leader. He's won multiple times this season. He punched his ticket to go into the playoffs long ago. And so far tonight, he's holding on to 2nd and doing everything that he can to try to secure that regular season championship. Of course, Ronnie Norman still with a mathematical chance at that championship, but not while Vincent Arthur is doing what he does best, which is running up at the front and winning or finishing on the podium. And really difficult for Ronnie to make much progress, even though they are teammates. It's still a lot of pride involved in that race for the regular season championship. But Senchak has tried here a couple of times. In lap number 18 now, he's tried a couple of times to try to take this position from Arthur. He just doesn't seem to quite be able to do it.
Yeah, it's going to be a very difficult pass at this track. It's really tough to pass. You got to really set it up and then get a huge run like he's doing here. Side draft Vincent back. Now he's got a dive bomb, and he's got to try to slide up in front of Vincent. Let's see if he's able to clear him. Vincent's hanging on. He clears him barely. He's going to cut up in front of him, and now Vincent. You know, I think Tom's just a little bit faster right now in the short run, and Vincent, you know, he's usually good in the long runs, typically here in NORA, so I'm sure he'll try to get back, but right now it's smarter for these guys to stay single file, because the more that they were side by side, the more Dustin Kleba pulled away. You can see that gap right there. He has pulled away to about a second and a half.
Pretty substantial lead for Kleba. This is the sort of track where you can start to pull out those kinds of gaps if you can manage your tires and manage that line through the corner very, very well. You can see it does look like Arthur's trying to get a run off of the corner, but we'll see. As you said, you know, it does take a lot to get together that run and be able to execute the pass and pull it off. You have to get fully alongside and then be able to complete the pass. And a mile and a third, it's just not a lot of time to set up that pass and get it done over the length of a straightaway. So we might see a lot more of this side-by-side battling if drivers do feel like trying to make that pass. But we did see Senchek able to pull off that pass, so that moves him up into second. Brendan Jinks racing for owner points here tonight for JRC Sim Team. He leads his teammate, Blade Timmons, and they're still right where they started in 5th and 6th, but holding on to that position. Now here comes Blade down to the inside. Looks like he's going to try to take that position.
Would be smart for Jenks to just let him by here, because side by side, it's going to allow Brady Most to get a run here on the backstretch into turn 3. So we'll see that develop here. As you can see, Brady kind of closing in now on the 42 there on the inside. Here he comes. And Jenks still on the outside of him.
Moats taking a look. You know, Moats racing in 3rd place in the championship. He's done a fantastic job this season. Still looking for that maiden win this season, but it's pretty much, it's going to be there, I think, at some point in the near future. But Ready to Wreck Racing has been solid all season long. And as we watch on here, it does look like they've kind of gotten the picture, although as long as they continue to race 2 wide, unless Brady wants to make it 3 wide, I think he's going to think about trying to send that car down low or up high and make it 3 wide. This track not really big enough for 3.
It is on the front stretch, but once you get into that corner, 3 wide is nearly impossible. You know, we'll see probably cars dropping down to the apron on restarts to make it 3 wide, but yeah, 3 wide, not the greatest idea here at this track, especially off the corners, because it gets so narrow whenever you come off the corner.
Well, I take it back officially. Brady is credited with winning the very first race of this season at Daytona. I was not present. We were not broadcasting that race, so that's why it didn't ring in my ears. But there goes Brady down to the inside. He's going to try to take that position away. By the way, hello to everybody joining us over on YouTube. Great to have you with us. As always, I'd like to say a big thank you to all of you watching on YouTube each and every week. You make it so exciting, and certainly we love it when you chat with us in the chat room. Let us know what's going on, who you're rooting on, and where you're watching from in the world. And of course, here on VirtualRacing.Network, we're just celebrating our 400th subscribers. So thank you once again to all of you who have subscribed. And we look forward to bringing you lots more great NORA Cup and Truck Series action in the future. And of course, also making some announcements, such as we'll be broadcasting the Icon Racing Series on Sunday nights as well. So if you're not already subscribed, it's a great time to do so. Hit that big subscribe button and like this video if you can. In the meantime, we're seeing a good race right now. This is Dustin Kleba, who has about a 1-second lead over Tom Senchak. And Vincent
I was just
Arthur.
about to say, we were about to see green flag stops, because we are halfway through stage 1, and these guys do need to make a pit stop before the end of the stage. And Vincent, right before I was able to say it, he pulls in and takes the first pit stop.
Well, if I didn't hog the mic for about 5 laps, you would have been able to say it. But as you said, he is making this call to come in and perhaps just maybe, you know, looking at the lap times. Lap times had fallen off a little bit from where they were racing before, and now we can see Kleba and Senchek also deciding to make that pit stop. So
yeah, these pits are going to draw everybody in now because these tires are so important here at this track. Once someone comes in, you got to come in the next lap. So, you know, we saw Vincent come in, so then the leader and Tom also came in as well behind the leader as well.
We have both of them in, but so far everybody else choosing to stay out there. Ryan Bird still on track, but as you said, he'll try to make that pit stop on this lap, so get it slowed down all the way down to 45 miles per hour. It seems so slow after you're out there racing well above 160, but got to bring it all the way down to 45. Perhaps it's 50. I'm not sure. Not sure because our gauge is all over the place, but it's extremely slow, and you got to, you know, the brakes are always cold coming into the pits, so you've got to be careful with that as well, getting into your box. Tricky stuff to get right each and every time. Bird high on the RPMs. They drop the jacks, and he is away as a result of being able to take one of those first pit boxes. Is to drive directly out of his pit box, no problem. He's really fighting that car coming off of that pit road.
Yeah, he is getting everything he can, you know, using as much throttle as he can to get off of pit road in front of other cars here. So we'll see where that's going to slot him after the round of pit stops is over.
Well,
as you can
Kleba
see,
and Senchek did manage to get out in front. Bird sort of towards the back of that group, so we'll have to see exactly how far back he ends up. Looks like about a second back from the other two.
We got an update from chat there. Nick Geilis saying that Joey Stats was actually the winner of Daytona. Not sure why Brady Moats is credited with that win, but Joey Stats was the winner of Daytona.
Well, they both have official listed wins over on SimRacer Hub, so you'll have to take that up with the folks that run that.
Brady may have won Atlanta, possibly. I don't know. We'll have to take a look at it and see exactly what races who won before we came on board here with VRN.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm looking at the stats right now, so I'm not sure what to tell you. But we do the best with the stats that we have to work with, and both Stats and Moats listed as winners so far this season. So we'll get clarification for everybody. I think the thing was, and this was, of course, before we joined this season, that there was a problem with Daytona, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And so Moats is listed as the winner for that race, but they replaced it with Talladega, and that's why Stats won at Talladega. But I don't know whether Moats is officially listed as the winner. Is still listed as the winner, so we'll have to get clarification from the powers that be here very shortly, and we'll get back to everybody on that.
I'll tell you what, something I wanted to mention, it's pretty cloudy out there. It's cooling off the track a little bit and making these cars handle pretty good.
Indeed. Always great to see different weather at play here in the iRacing service. Of course, no rain to speak of. There you can see the 16 and the 26 go flashing by. That's actually not for position yet. They're just unlapping themselves at the moment because Brady Moats is still on track carrying on. I mean, they didn't need to make their pit stops, as Brady is showing right now as he's working on lap number 37. He and the top 7 drivers here are all still getting it done. So holding out there on the track.
Yeah, it's not necessarily that you needed to pit, halfway. It's just I think the better strategy to split the stage in half You can go probably about 40 to 45 laps on a tank of fuel, but those tires are going to be completely gone by the end of his stint here. And you can see that by all the cars that are unlapping themselves are so much faster. So he is losing a lot of time by staying out like this.
Well, we appear to be having some issues with our timing and scoring system. We're going to do our best to get that up there on the screen for you very shortly. But right now, we'll be able to give you a little bit of a manual update. Brady Boats currently in the lead. Brandon Jenks in second. Jacob Gladelich in third. Cody Reeder in fourth. Justin Moody in fifth. Moody getting into that top 5. Chris Heitz making a reappearance here in the league. He's up into 6th. Blade Timmons now making a pit stop for JRC Sim Team. He's going to fall out of that 7th place where he's at. And right now, Dustin Kleba with Tom Senchek just behind. They are now climbing their way up. They've reached 7th place. And as you can see, just half a second back, that's Tom Senchek. So very shortly, we will be seeing these two take over the lead once again. And it's been a great run so far for both Kleba and Senchek. Thought maybe Arthur would have something to stay with these drivers, but he's already fallen about 1.5 seconds back of these two.
Yeah, and he lost that that distance in pit road. 1 second on track is like 2 seconds in pit road, if that kind of makes sense. But yeah, he's lost a little bit of ground to Dustin and Tom here, but Tom he was right beside Dustin whenever they came out of the pits, so he's trying to get back up to Kleba now to try to challenge for what will be the battle for the lead. And unfamiliar seeing Dustin Kleba in this paint scheme. Usually he's running a pretty plain one, but now he's got that colorful Arctic ice or Arctic vibe by Celsius there. Looks pretty nice for him.
That's a snazzy paint job. We were aware we were going to be seeing some different paints for tonight. I didn't know that Kleba would be one of them, but hey, it's fun to get into the paint shop every so often, and certainly you know something about that over at Snyder Graphics. You got lots of drivers pretty much week in and week out sending you over some notes and saying, hey, I'd like a new paint job. And it's one of the coolest things that we have here on the iRacing service is just how relatively simple it is to get a new paint scheme up and running for your race car and head out there and show it off to the whole world.
Yeah, it's simple to get the paint scheme. It's a little bit more complex to make them, some of them. So.
Oh, it's very... I mean, if you don't know your way around something like Adobe Photoshop or one of those types of softwares, you really would struggle to try to figure out how to do it. Of course, you can pay for the service over on Trading Paints, but you're still limited by just pretty much being able to place things onto your car. If you want something totally custom, like most of these drivers and teams do, especially if you have something, a real idea in your head of what you want to see, you need an artist like a certain guy named Christian Snyder, perhaps, that'd be able to take your idea, turn it into reality. But here is Dustin Kleba, as mentioned. He pitted just about 15 laps ago, and right now he is taking over the lead as Jacob Gladelich for JRC is now making his pit stop. So put this track map up here on the screen. You can follow along with where your favorite driver is currently at. How about a good Ronnie Norman report? Well, he's up 11 spots, and he's currently running that Abbey Sweet Treats Home Bakery Special up into the top 5. So Ronnie Norman out of Clinton, Indiana, up there now in the top 5. Taking a look at all those front runners that we've been talking about, and I don't know if the Jake Christenberry fan club is in it tonight, but he's got a snazzy paint job on there, as you can see, for that number 23, the Air Jordan paint job. But he's currently running in the 6th place, up 6 positions, so he's having a stellar run as well, and of course our top Toyota driver at the moment.
Yeah, his fan club is in chat. I believe that's Megan and Emily both cheering on Jake Christenberry here tonight.
Always great to have the fam and the friends joining us here on VirtualRacing.Network, and I can see that they've chimed in. Also got Morgan rooting on Trevor. I appreciate it. We all got our fans out there rooting us on, and I super appreciate it. Nick Geilis, thank you for the info, Nick. And once again, we will try to get it figured out. The duels were still hosted at Daytona. Then there was a hurricane that sent us to Talladega. Yes, indeed. We all know about those hurricanes down here in the great state of Florida. So Emily Christenberry saying, keep moving up, Christenberry. We're ready to see you in victory lane. Well, you know, he's got a good-looking car. And Megan Beadle also saying, always here, as always, here cheering for Christenberry. Let's go, bub. So, you know, he brings the fan club. It gets a little extra screen time, I think. Jake Christenberry doing a fabulous job right now, running just outside the top 5 and staying in the place that he needs to be in to try to get that elusive victory. We'll see whether or not tonight is the night here in Nashville. Certainly, Nashville's made some people famous before. It might be night for Jake Christenberry to get up there and what is it? NORA gives him a guitar for a trophy. That's pretty cool.
I don't know about that, but that would be cool. That would be cool.
Indeed. No, I think I was thinking of something else. Tom Senchek there in second place. He's had a great run. He was really just right behind Dustin Kleba, but he's fallen back a little bit now. Currently up a spot, as you know, but he and his teammate Ryan Bird so far have had nothing for Dustin Kleba as long as it has stayed green. And we're going to be coming up to the end of the first stage here momentarily, as lap number 54 will be the start, or will be the end of that first stage. So we'll have that caution that will allow all these drivers to catch up with one another. And those that want to hit in and take tires, once again, they'll be able to do that. It'll be interesting to see what strategy people will be working on. Vincent Arthur, he's dropped a couple of spots. And now we can see Jake Christenberry up there challenging Ronnie Norman for that top 5.
Yeah, and Ronnie Norman's fan club not making a presence here tonight. So looks like the Christenberry fan club gets something to celebrate as they pass Ronnie Norman here.
Well, as you can see, I'm not sure if it's just in goodwill, but the fan boost that we tried to get implemented here in NORA, it seems to be working. As Christenberry has now been able to squeeze by a very difficult to pass Ronnie Norman. I think Ronnie was maybe just having a cookie there in the cockpit, and he took his foot out of the gas a little bit, but Christenberry now goes by up 7 spots, and he's got a ways to go to catch up with the leaders, but you just pick them off one by one, you know, you keep working on that car. And so this is going to be the final lap of this stage. Dustin Kleba going to be bringing it across the line, and that will do it for him. So he will take stage number 1 with Tom Senchak in second, Ryan Bird in third, Vincent Arthur in fourth, and Jake Christenberry snagging a top 5. And congratulations to those drivers taking some extra bonus points here for stage number 1. So with that, I think we're going to take a short break here on VirtualRacing.Network. Catch all these drivers as they come into the pits, and we'll be right back here for lots more green flag action in just a moment. Stay tuned. Welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. You're watching round number 20 of the NORA Cup Series 2023. Live iRacing here on VirtualRacing.Network. It's all presented by Abby's Sweet Treats Home Bakery, of course. And as you can see, it's Brandon Jenks who actually took the lead by staying out there. He last pitted on lap number 43, so he's got that Mike's Hard Lemonade car, going to be starting on the top spot. Vincent Arthur will be starting in second place, and Dustin Kleba in third with Jake Christenberry. Now, having chosen correctly, I guess you would say, now up into that fourth spot. So Christenberry's making quite a splash here in Nashville.
Yeah, so far so good for the Air Jordan scheme there. Looking nice out there.
What do you think of this strategy that Jenks has employed to stay out there? Do you think the tires are going to become a factor towards the end of the stint?
For sure.
So what do we have any idea of? Like, I would say like maybe another 10 laps or so until we might see these drivers just able to easily pass that have the fresher tires. But he might be able to hold down that top spot for a little while.
I would say less than 3 laps and he's going to be back to beyond fifth, because these tires are so important. We saw them come in after about 26, 27 laps to get tires. He's already got about 9 laps on his tires, so he's going to be significantly slower than the other guys. We'll have to see how quick Vincent takes the lead here as they're coming out of 4, heading toward the restart zone to get this thing back under green.
Indeed, the green flag is back in the hands of Barney the Flag Man as he steadies it and waves it, and we are back underway, and a great jump for Jenks. He's going to hold down this lead at least into turn number 1.
Yeah, into turn 1, he's got that teammate behind him. Not necessarily teammate, but in the same organization with Vincent Arthur. But it looks like actually Brendan's going to pull away out of turn 2, so maybe these tires are not as bad as I thought.
Well, Christenberry right now giving it a shot for third spot on Dustin Kleba. So perhaps he's given his best Air Jordan impersonation and going for the slam from half court. This is a nice run for Christenberry. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to pull it off on Kleba, but he's given him everything that he can handle side by side at the moment.
Yeah, in trouble. I'm back in the field. No wreck, but they spread out. Not sure exactly what happened. We'll have to see if that's any issue here. But right now, side by side for Ronnie too, as he's going to tuck in now. I believe that's Tom Senchek on the back bumper here of Christenberry now. Gave him a little push going into turn 1.
Tight racing here for the NORA Cup Series. Trying to get through in a hurry.
Brady Moats. Moats way low out of turn 2.
Moats now trying to hang on back in 9th place. He's now dropped back to 10th, as you can see Timmons going by on the high side.
That's Conover too on the outside now.
Conover knocking on that door, and Moats was having a good night, but started drifting back, and I don't know whether or not this is indication of some damage on board that he's going to have to deal with, but looks like now he's fighting back on Blade Timmons. He's managed to be able to make a pass on the outside. That's the first time I think we've been able to see that happen tonight.
Yeah, we're starting to see guys get loose out of turn 2, and I think that's what happened there. I think Blade got a little bit loose, and then Moats was able to go up to his outside and make a run and get past him. But yeah, Christenberry up here, he made it by Senchek, and Senchek now getting held up here. We saw him in second place earlier, so we know he's got a fast car. He's just got to work his way around Jake Christenberry here. We'll see if he's able to here.
He may in fact be able to, but also this is a very close battle just up in front of that, as I think we're going to see Vincent Arthur now making a move down to the inside at the same time that we're seeing Senchek and Christenberry battle. This is for the lead. Arthur down to the low side.
Yeah, and here he goes. He's going to complete that pass, and now Kleba underneath Jenks as well. Kleba going to make a good run here out of turn 4. And now it's going to be the Vincent and Kleba battle that we see so often here in NORA.
Kleba able to steal that second position from Jinx. Once these tires got up to temperature, it was pretty much the writing was on the wall for Jinx. Unfortunately, Arthur Kleba getting by. Now Senchek will be the next one. Now we look further back. This is Christenberry, and Senchek has kind of set sail up towards that front group. But just behind, it's Ryan Bird and Ronnie Norman that are fighting it out. This is for 6th place, so we saw Bird starting in 5th place, or 4th place, excuse me, and he's had a rough go of it. It hasn't exactly been smooth sailing for Bird, but he's now
smooth flying.
A smooth. But anything but a smooth flight for Bird here in his late Apex Racing machine, but Norman sizing him up possibly for that position. We're waiting to see whether or not Norman is going to be able to stabilize his ride as well, as it looks like Brendan Dunford now creeping into this picture for Nightmare Motorsports.
Yeah, Dunford having a great run in the number 20. He's the highest up Nightmare driver.
Well, Brandon Dunford out of Milton, Florida, just down the road from our headquarters here for VirtualRacing.Network. And he's looking to get everything that he can here. He's already climbed back to where he started, which was 8th place. Now he takes a look at the backside of Ronnie Norman, possibly looking to steal that position as well. Now we go up to the front. Now we've got a side-by-side battle. This is Vincent Arthur with Dustin Kleba going down onto the apron. And Kleba going to march up into that top spot, but for how long? Arthur going to try to hold it on the outside. And I think that's going to do it. Kleba steals that position and back up into the lead for Dustin Kleba.
Yeah, Vincent tried getting on Kleba's door there in turn 1 and 2, but just didn't have enough grip to stay right beside him and drifted up the track. And now Kleba has the lead steadily here.
So Vincent does get a bit of a run into the corner, but not able to size up Kleba for a sizable enough run that he can try to make the pass. And there's clouds overhead here at Nashville. We are just 70 laps into this 180 lap affair here for round number 20 for the NORA Cup Series. So far it's been a very nice race. We've had multiple passes for the lead. Some newcomers here that have shown very well. Tom Senchek currently racing in that 3rd spot, trying to make a name for himself. And you know, he could, if he was able to take victory, I mean, he is sitting in 3rd place right now, so he's still out of victory contention at this exact second. But if he were to take victory, that'd be 2 different drivers in 2 weeks that was able to do so, and he would also punch his ticket into the playoffs. And, you know, while it seems so secure for a number of these drivers, hey, just got to go out there and put in the laps, at some point, some of these drivers are going to have to start really working hard to get into those playoffs because the spaces are evaporating very quickly. But we'll see whether Tom can get up there into victory lane. I'm sure all of these drivers would be looking to do the same thing. Here's Brendan Jinx, currently running for owner's points for the JRC Sim team. And as mentioned, he would love to sit up there in the victory lane. Behind, that's Jake Christenberry. He's looking for the same thing. I can tell you he does not have a victory, but he has been up there in the top 5, sniffing around, trying to get on that podium, and perhaps could just be his night after all. And Ryan Bird, he's already tasted victory here in NORA. He knows what it feels like. In fact, he already beat Vincent Arthur, albeit it was in a totally different style of track, but Bird certainly no fear. If he can get up there, he'll try to take that victory. Now we go back a little ways and we've got some more battles happening here. We You see Ronnie Norman and Brandon Dunford just behind. But right back here, this is Cody Reeder, who's now closing up on Matt Tucker. This is for 11th and 12th position.
Yeah, this is unusual of Reeder to be clear back in 12th. Maybe this isn't a track that he necessarily likes, and just wanted to come out and get some practice here for next week when the trucks are here at Nashville.
That's not a bad idea. I think we've just had a car. That's the 42 of Blade Timmons.
He keeps it off the inside wall, but that is not, mowing the grass is not a plan, I don't think.
It's never in the plans. Tony Kanaan did it at Indianapolis. Managed to go off and go through the grass. Let's take a look at what happened to Blade Timmons here. This was just a moment ago. Just gets it really loose in the corner. Bit of a tank slapper and can't seem to correct it. Gets that 42 going once again. Doesn't smack the wall down on the inside. Just mows a lot of grass, and you're going to be wanting to empty that grass catcher after a trip like that.
Yeah, I don't know if he just got loose on his own, or if maybe because of how close Tim Harper was to his back bumper, it took the air off of him because they were battling there. So, not what Blade wanted to happen. He was running pretty good there up until then, so we'll see if he's able to get back up into the top 10 eventually here tonight.
Well, right now we've got a side-by-side battle for second, Christian. This is Vincent Arthur and Tom Senchek. Senchek sending it down on the low side on Vincent Arthur. Arthur, who has been the championship, basically the favorite to take this championship through most of this season, at least until Dustin Kleba showed up. Arthur taking 5 victories here, but so far there's been a few drivers who have shown up and been able to get the better of Vincent Arthur. And right now, Tom Senchek of Late Apex Racing, if you're Vincent Arthur, you have just got to be hard rolling your eyes that these drivers, have just been showing up. And, Senchek with 4,200 I rating is no slouch behind the wheel. But certainly Arthur thought he kind of had it made here in NORA. He was doing everything right. He was getting race wins. Things were just going perfect for him week in and week out. Right now, he's got to be scratching his head as to whether he can for sure win this championship. I'm sure his confidence would say absolutely he can win this championship, but at the same time, he's had so many setbacks here in recent weeks that it's not as for sure as it once seemed.
Yeah, not only Vincent, too. You got to think back to the early part of the season. Flatline Motorsports was 1, 2, 3 almost every week, as we see an issue with Zach Ollinger here getting way off the pace and then getting hit by Christopher Heights. Not sure exactly what happened. Maybe a PC issue because I don't know. That was strange.
Very strange. It does look like he might have had a PC issue pulling off the track there, and I see that Heights has now pulled off into the pit lane, so difficulty for those two drivers. We've got some side-by-side battling here. This is Christenberry and Norman with Brady Moats now up onto Norman's back end. So Moats was struggling not that long ago, but he's back in it now, and he's trying to take that position away from Christenberry. That's for 6th place.
Yeah, he bump drafted Ronnie past Christenberry there. That was impressive. We're not at a plate track or plate type track. So that was interesting to see.
That's kind of like old school short track racing where you just kind of bump the car in front of you, and he did manage to do that. But here comes Brandon Dunford in that green and black Nightmare Motorsports neon paint scheme.
Yeah, this is odd to see because usually the outside lane you're able to hold off a lot better, but Christenberry's stuck on the outside and he's getting freight trained right now by multiple cars.
Definitely would agree with you here. I don't know if it's the temperature or what the situation is, but that outside lane does not seem to be the one that you would want to be in. Cody Reeder sneaking by. Jinx now So we take a look here at this battle that's going on. Conover, you know, he made up 8 spots since the start, but he really has kind of struggled to crack that top 10, just sitting outside that top 10. And there's a couple of other really great drivers. If we take a look back here, this is Matthew George running in 12th place. And of course, George is well known for being up there in that top 5 at the end of the race, but still kind of strange to see him. He hasn't really cracked the top 10 at all tonight. We got a couple of other drivers. Matt Tucker, we've seen his talent on display already here in the NORA Cup Series, and once again, he's outside the top 10. He's dropped 6 positions from where he started. And how about Timmy Harper? We're so used to seeing him in the top 10, usually even the top 5. Now we've got some drivers onto pit lane.
Looked like Ronnie Norman had an issue getting into pit road. A lot of smoke from Ronnie Norman's car there.
Well, a number of these drivers choosing to make their pit stops right now. Let's see if we can, let's take a look at this replay of Ronnie Norman getting into pit lane. He gets very loose there.
Look at that.
And who was that?
I believe that was Tom Senchek.
So Senchek.
Could be Ryan Bird as well. Same paint scheme.
It's very difficult to tell them apart. Senchek
just got loose.
And that's really what happened to Norman, except Norman was able to correct it. And Senchek having just enough of a gap that he was able to
almost hit the 77 there.
Wow. So he's gone all the way back behind Josh Conover, and that is going to set him well back. So what was already looking like a fantastic debut for Senchek is now going to have to do some work to catch up with these leaders once again. Jake Christenberry coming into the pits. He's got Timmy Harper just behind. Adam Kulikowski also into the pits.
I tell you what, look who's still out on the track, Vincent Arthur. I thought maybe he was going to try to do a different strategy, but he will come in now. I thought maybe he would stay out as long as he could to try something different. You know, if you just follow the leader all race, then you're going to finish behind the leader at the end of the race. So you got to try something different.
Well, and remember, he was the first one to come in last time, and this time I think trying to stay out there a little bit longer. That'll give up the lead to Cody Reeder. But if we're looking at their last lap time, a 30.65 compared to 29.88 being the best lap time, you'd have to say the tire fall off means that kind of the sooner you can get in, the better, because it's not doing you a lot of good to stay out there on the track as far as lap times right now. Second place at the moment, Jacob Bladelich, running for owner points for JRC Sim Team. He's doing a terrific job of hanging on onto that machine, but he's going to end up giving up that lead here before too long. But we did see these other drivers going quite a long time before having to come in. Right now, they're about 30 laps difference from these other drivers when they came into the pit stops, and right now it's been about just coming up on 40 laps, so about 37 laps or so since they last pitted.
I tell you what, whenever these cycle out, Dustin Kleba has about a 5-second gap over Vincent Arthur. He has extended that lead by a lot.
It's a great call. Absolutely correct. And we'll take a look at that right now. And would you believe that sitting in third spot, virtual on the track? So some things have really changed here in terms of who's at the virtual top of this order. It's now Dustin Kleba, but sitting in second would be Vincent Arthur after these other drivers that haven't pitted do finally pit. And then it's Brandon Dunford for Nightmare Motorsports. He's had a fantastic run here tonight. And to see him sitting in a potential podium position is something that has definitely been a long time coming.
Yeah, and he's got Ryan Bird right behind him, pecking away at his back bumper, as you can see here. Now Ryan going to look underneath and take the third position, or what will be third position here once everything cycles out.
Well, Ryan flies on by in that number 49 Chevy. He's going to set his sights now on Vincent Arthur a ways up the road, but it's going to be quite a long flight for Ryan Bird to get up to Vincent Arthur. That's about 2.3 seconds.
The puns, I love them. We're so good.
We do try to have fun here on VirtualRacing.Network.
There it is.
Did you just do that at exactly the same time I did?
Same time. Yeah. Oh.
Well, we are now on lap number 95 of 180, so we're just over halfway. We're looking at Ryan Bird sitting in 5th spot as Cody Reeder and Jacob Gladelich are yet to make their pit stops, but for how long? It's not very long. Dustin Kleba has already cleared Vincent Arthur, or has already cleared and gotten himself back onto the lead lap. So for how much longer will Cody Reeder and Jacob Gladelich stay out there? We'll find out. There's Gladelich. He's about to get swallowed up by Dunford and Christenberry. So that will effectively move Christenberry. Now he's passing Dunford, so that will move Christenberry now into the virtual 4th place on the track. Ryan Bird has kind of flown off in the distance.
Yeah, he's not too close to Arthur, but you know he could catch up to Vincent by the end of this run. But I don't think so, because Vincent was the last one to pit with everybody who has fresh tires right now. So I think right now Vincent's going to pull away from Ryan Bird and easily finish second here in the stage here in about 13, 14 laps or so.
So it's all about positioning here, trying to get those stage victories, the maximum amount of stage points that you can get. And of course, some of these drivers just thinking about that big points haul at the end of the race. So will Arthur be in position to take the stage victory? Perhaps not, but we'll see whether he is able to snag that 2nd place, and then whether or not anybody will have something for this driver, Dustin Kleba of Iowa City, Iowa. He's been practically unstoppable, and I think giving him a week off was like forcing somebody to sit down when they really wanted to get behind the wheel, because Kleba's been on a tear. He knows what he can do here in this series. He knows that he has the ability to win the overall championship and snag a bunch of victories. And in order to do that, you know, part of it is, of course, making sure that your competitors don't win. There's a whole, I mean, you don't talk about it much, but there is a whole psychological game that goes into this kind of racing. And right now, if somebody can come in and steal the thunder out from somebody like Vincent Arthur, I mean, he won't be set back too far, but it does make a statement if you're trying to win a championship, and those head games are worth something. So Cody Reeder managing to pit there for KPR Motorsports, and once again, just not really having the type of competitive night that we're so used to seeing him. Usually right up there with Dustin Kleba, his teammate, here in the Cup Series. But Gladelich still staying out there in that number 7, and now just 16 seconds between him and for 2nd place Kleba. So when he makes that pit stop, which he finally does right now, he's going to fall well back in the order.
Yeah, and that was a pretty smooth entry there. No issue there for Jacob Gladelich, but this is going to give Kleba the lead, and it's going to be a 6-second lead for Kleba once everything rounds out here.
Well, we watch to see how this all works out. Seeing about a 4-second lead at the moment between him and Arthur, but a substantial margin for sure, and it seems to be growing every lap. Last lap, basically these top 3 drivers doing, actually top 4, top 5 drivers all doing almost virtually identical laps at a 30.0 something. Christenberry actually the fastest car on track at the moment with a 29.95. But he's got 10 seconds to get up to Dustin Kleba. So Kleba just setting the pace and really setting sail, able to really put away his closest competitors here so far tonight.
And, you know, we saw Senchek early battling with Kleba, and after his spin there on pit road, he's now trying to get back into the top 5 here as he's working on Brady Moats, but not the run that Senchek wanted this stage.
No, he was possibly going to be taking some playoff points, some stage points, but instead it doesn't look like, well, if he can get around Moats, he'll get some, but not as many as he was guaranteed if he had just not had that spin coming into the pits. But hey, it's like your debut here on VirtualRacing.Network, your debut for the NORA series, and you're kind of allowed a rookie mistake every now and then.
Yeah, we saw earlier in the season, you know, Dustin Kleba coming in. I think it was his first or second race this season. He was going into Dover, into the pits, and spun out and crashed in pit road. So, you know, the best of drivers make mistakes.
It's absolutely true, and sometimes catches you out just when you're thinking about something else, or you're focused on one thing and you get caught out coming into the pits. You don't expect it to be quite as violent coming down off that apron down into pit lane, but we watch on here from the back of Brady Moats, number 98 exteriors, the number 15. And he's trying to see whether or not Senchek is going to try to make that move on him.
He's got a good run here. He might look low here going into 1, and he does. He's going to get underneath Brady and probably make this pass.
Well, there's just 3 laps remaining here in this stage, so this would be to get some stage points, but it's been absolutely no challenge ahead of them, and they all run nose to tail. This is the battle for position really right now out of the top 10, as Senchek trying to take this spot from Moats, and they continue to race side by side. So able to hold on strong there. Moats is not giving up so easily.
Yeah, he's been so far the only one that I've seen that's able to work the outside lane and hold off a driver. You know, we saw Christenberry earlier trying to use the outside lane to hold people off, but was just driven around pretty easily, and Brady putting on a good fight. Still dealing with his injury as well, so that's another factor in tonight with him.
And that is a massive factor. We haven't talked about it, but that knee injury certainly playing a role, as we're now just down to 2 more laps left. 1 more lap, actually, as Kleba rolls across the line, and these two will get 1 more lap to battle it out for this 5th position. Christenberry just ahead. He's holding on to 4th, and it's tough to tell who's going to get this point. But
I think Brendan Jenks is going to get it. Look at this. Here he comes.
Jenks entering this picture. Is he going to try to steal this here on this last lap of this stage? Is he going to dare to make it 3 wide? That's unadvisable, but stranger things have happened as they go through the final corners on this stage. It does look like Senchek able to just get ahead just a slight amount. Is he going to hold it? And he does hold it. So looks like Senchek able to take the 5th position for stage number 2. So Dustin Kleba takes his 2nd stage victory in a row. Vincent Arthur in 2nd place. Ryan Bird in 3rd. So come back to get into that podium spot. Christenberry having a fantastic run, up 8 spots here tonight. And Tom Senchek in his debut, he had an issue getting into the pits, but a great run back forward, and now currently sitting in 5th. When we come back and we hit some more green flag action, I think we'll be seeing Senchek making another vie for a potential race win. Stay tuned here on VirtualRacing.Network. We'll be right back. And welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. It's been a amazing run so far for Dustin Kleba and Vincent Arthur now sitting in second place. Ryan Bird in third. Brady Moats able to do some good things on pit road and get up there into fourth. But Jake Christenberry thus far having a fantastic race and only losing one spot there on pit road. And I think now we have a chance to chat with the driver of the number 23, Jake Christenberry for Prestige TRD. And Jake, hey, great to have you with us here in our interview in race here, and congratulations, you've been having a great race.
Yeah, it's been, I've been surprised. I've had some good speed and just trying to hang in there. I've been playing a little strategy on the stage breaks. It's gained me a few spots, so it's been playing out pretty well. Hopefully to get at least a podium tonight.
Yeah, it's certainly looking that way. And of course, over in our YouTube chat room, we always talk about your fan club showing up. Emily Christenberry and Megan Beadle checking in with us and letting us know that they're always rooting you on and that you've got it. I think they would be very happy to see you get up there and get a podium position. What do you think is the key factor here tonight to getting up there onto the podium or possibly taking victory? Is there something about these tires over the length of the runs? Is it just being able to hold position and not let anybody get by you? What's the key here tonight?
Yeah, I think as the runs get longer, I mean, the tires are definitely, they're the factor. I mean, I don't think they're as, like, you need them as much, but you definitely need it towards the end. I don't know that I'm going to have the speed for those top three. I'm not sure. Definitely it's hard to pass, though. Once you get late in a run, it's hard to pass. If you get stuck up on the outside like I did before that last green flag run, it's hard to get back down there. Then they just come as a train and pass you. But yeah, I guess you just watch your tires and just kind of hang in there and see what happens.
Well, one major thing that we've seen play out here on NORA broadcast in the past, just being in the right place at the end. You may find yourself in victory lane after all. So good luck, though, Jake. I know you got to get back behind the wheel, and we'll look forward to chatting with you hopefully after this race is over.
Thank you.
So that is Jake Christenberry for Prestige TRD. He's been doing a bang-up job out there week in and week out, and tonight he finds himself looking at a strong chance at taking a top 5, if not a podium. And Christian, this has been a great run from him, but now we see, we're talking about Josh Conover. Guess who has made it into the top 5, choosing at the choose cone. He's right there in that top 5, and Dustin Kleba going to lead us back to the green flag, but you can't count out Josh Conover. You can't count out Ryan Bird, Tom Senchek up there. We've got a lot of great racing to happen here.
Green flag. Yeah, and the green flag back in the air, and Dustin Kleba with a great jump there. Going to get about 2 car lengths on Vincent Arthur here, and underneath Vincent, you got Ryan Bird looking to try to get there. Not going to be able to, but Ryan Bird going to pass Brady Moats as well as Josh Conover And oh man, almost a big one there. Josh Conover and Cody Reeder almost touched. That allows
We've got 3
Senchek to
wide
get
now.
underneath them.
3 wide in the corner. Cody Reeder in the middle. Conover on the outside. We were wondering when we would see Cody Reeder start to make a strong break for the front. We're still 3 wide.
And Reeder still kind of making contact with Conover again off the corner. So these guys can't get away from each other. And now that allowed Tim Harper to get by him as well.
Once again, we're seeing these drivers that I was just talking about not long ago saying, why haven't they shown up in the top 5? Well, here comes Timmy Harper. He's in 6th. Josh Conover sitting in 7th. Cody Reeder into 8th. Brandon Jenks now demoted back into 9th. And Brandon Dunford, he was making a big name for himself in 10th. And you know who else has dropped way back? That's Jake Christenberry.
Someone who's dropped even further back. I don't see Ronnie Norman anywhere up here in the top 15.
Oh, Christenberry having a moment on the screen, and he managed to
Conover too
get collected by Kulikowski. Josh Conover having a moment. He'll come down and hit the inside wall.
Wow, and no caution. This is detrimental to Conover and Christenberry.
Absolutely devastating for these two who are having fantastic runs, and
the broadcast curse strikes again.
That's the first thing I thought of. But Christenberry, he's going to pull it down onto the apron. He doesn't want to get in the way of the leaders, and that is just total heartbreak for the Christenberry family who was watching on and seeing all of this happen. We're going to see if we can get a replay here of what happened just a moment ago. Here's Christenberry on the low side, and I don't know.
He just got loose. Same with Josh.
Yeah, I was going to say, did he get help from behind? But I don't think so.
Based on how low he was there, I think he touched the paint and got loose and then started tank slapping it, and Kulikowski nowhere to go.
So that sent him around. Now let's see if we can tell what exactly happened to Josh Conover, because he didn't make contact with him. Conover, same thing, just kind of gets loose and then can't correct it, and he himself, he comes down, spins out through the grass.
Something I've noticed whenever I've ran this car at the All-Star Open, once you get loose, they are almost impossible to save. So, you know, you could be the best driver in the world, and once this car gets loose, you're gone. Has a caution, or no? Okay, I thought I saw a caution pop up there.
This is the software. If we don't put this particular ticker up during the caution when it phases back to green, and when we bring it back up, it'll show yellow for just a second. It's if we could code things, we could fix them, but we do the best with what we've got out here, Christian. It's like running a car that isn't prepared exactly the way you want it. You just do the best you got. Kleba
right
in that lead, Vincent Arthur in second, Ryan Bird holding on in third, Brady Moats in fourth. That's 4 different teams represented in the top 4 at the moment. And I think Arthur may be facing a challenge from Ryan Bird here before too long.
Yeah, and it's something I want to bring up real quick. I mean, those 2 cars spinning, that should have been a caution. You know, iRacing doesn't call it. I wish that we could have like a live RC to be able to call those cautions and make that a rule, because without it being a caution, now Jake Christenberry and Conover's nights are probably over since we are in the final stage.
Indeed. It's always a little bit of a mystery trying to figure out what exactly triggers iRacing to throw that caution. We know that when cars are potentially in the way of the leaders when they're going to come around, that will throw a caution. But exactly where that hits and where it doesn't, it's always a mystery. And sometimes we've seen incidents where it looks like it's a given that it should be a caution, and it doesn't throw the caution. So, you know, once again, iRacing aren't perfect, and if you know, it is something for NORA to consider for the future. It's something that all leagues have to look at. Do we have a live admin who can do these different types of functions or not? A lot of racers seem to feel like, for example, in another league, they've taken great length to try to implement a pitting rule that real life racing uses, so that you have to use the fast lane and you can only come into your box three boxes ahead and 3 boxes behind wherever your box is on pit lane. And they've tried to implement that, but a lot of racers, they don't like it because that's not how iRacing does it. And if you go out there, you do official iRacing, you go by iRacing's rules, so you can go wherever you want on pit lane.
This league also implements that. You have to stay to the right until you get within range of your box, and then you can only use 3 in and 3 out. And then you have to get back out to the so-called fast lane in pit road before exit as well.
Exactly, and there's reasons for that. It's so that the drivers don't make contact with one another on pit road, etc. And it also replicates what real-life drivers have to go through, which is a lot of what we're trying to do here. We're trying to simulate reality out there on the racetrack. But I would say that particular league has faced drivers actually willing to leave the league because of the penalties handed out for that particular rule that's in place. So you always got to look at that and say these administrators, they have a tough job trying to, in real life, it's only one decision, but because it is simulated and it's here on iRacing, sometimes the drivers, they want something totally different. So somebody like Josh Conover, Ronnie Norman, and Nick Eilis, they've all got to listen to both sides and try and come up with a perfect answer, and it's not an easy one.
Yeah, I tried my hand at running the league before. We didn't get very far in because it was just too stressful, and the money that goes into it was too much, so we had to close that down. But being an admin, it's got to be the hardest job on iRacing, I tell you.
And one of the least thanked, honestly. So much goes into it each and every day, and Conover, gets to come out here and race twice a week, but it's pretty much a 7-day-a-week job, just staying up on everything, staying up on all the communication, and talking to different people who are interested in joining, and making sure that all the points and everything else are updated and correct. And that's why, certainly, if there's anything like in the statistics that isn't quite right, we all try to talk it over and make sure that we get it right, because Josh's plate is absolutely full. So we're just always thankful that he gets to spend as much time updating everything and doing it as he can. And I think that's just something that a lot of people understand about grassroots sports, is that it's really made up mostly of volunteers. Not really anybody is paid to do the adminning and the volunteering to do the race control and stuff like that. It's just a lot of volunteer work, and it's stuff that, if this was real life NASCAR, or if we had sponsors that were worth thousands of dollars, maybe some of these positions would be paid. But you got to put your heart and soul into it, and as a result, it's been successful. NORA running now, this is the 3rd season of the Cup Series, 5th season of the Truck Series, and just great racing throughout. And that's enough of my 2 cents. We look a little bit further back. This is Gladelich and Kulikowski trying to fight it out for 13th spot out there on the track. This is Kulikowski just getting in, unfortunately, into the backside of Christenberry, as he was having that tank slapper not that long ago. And then you can see just up in front, this is kind of a 3-way battle right now between Matthew George, who's at the front end of this group, with Tucker and Timmons. And then just in front of that, we've got a side-by-side battle. Dunford getting the better of Cody Reeder. So once again, Brandon Dunford having a nice night with his car, but Cody Reeder, this has just been so uncharacteristic of this driver that, let's face it, he's been top 5 material each and every week, in and out, but here he is tonight, just barely hanging on to the top 10.
Yeah, this is kind of surprising for Cody Reeder. Like I said earlier, he just might not really like this track, or might not be familiar with it, and is just getting practice for the Truck Series. So he's not running for, driver points, and barely is running for owner's points, because the 85 car I don't think is in the top 20 in owners points. So he's just out here to learn and get experience for this upcoming Monday.
Certainly getting plenty of experience, and we'll see how that works out this next Monday.
I do have an update real quick. Ronnie Norman out of the race. He had computer issues and dropped out of the race and has not come back.
Oh my. I wonder this is not related to the wheel problems that he was having a couple of weeks ago.
Now, from what I saw, he was just running on the track, going into out of turn 4, and then he just disappeared and never came back. I think an alien abducted him. I don't know.
This is Nashville.
It is, yeah. Weird things happen.
Could have been the same one that abducted Elvis.
There you go.
Conspiracy Central right here on VirtualRacing.Network. We've got it all.
There we go.
We don't have a couple of rim shots in a night. This is... Okay, so back here on lap 138, Dustin Kleba, your leader for KPR Motorsports. Vincent Arthur for Flatline, hanging on in second. Ryan Bird, absolutely having an excellent race, running in third place and proving that last week was no fluke. Looking strong for late Apex Racing there in third place, but these drivers all separated, each one of them, by about a second. Now behind Ryan Bird, you can see Tom Senchek, also for late Apex Racing. He's managed to keep it pretty close. He's had to fight his way back.
Oh, here we go. Green flag pit stops have begun. Tim Harper, Kulikowski, Jenks, all in.
Well, this would be about the earliest that they could come in and be able to expect to make it to the end. So Harper, Kulikowski, as you mentioned, now taking on their final fuel and tires for the night. Sailing by on that straightaway is Dustin Kleba, who's been turning some pretty solid laps out here. Last lap of 30.40 to Vincent Arthur's 30.47. And 30.46 to Bird. 30.29 to Tom Senchek. So Senchek, he was fast before, and I think Bird just had a problem.
Bird hit the wall.
Let's see if we can back it up and take a look at this. This was just a lap ago. We'll watch Ryan Bird go through this lap. I think you could feel the presence of Senchek not far back.
It's possible. Let's see what happens here.
Perhaps he was trying to.
Oh, just pushes real hard up to the wall there. It's got real tight on him. That's something else that I've kind of noticed with this car. You could be running the same exact line, lap in, lap after lap after lap. And then you go into the corner, you're thinking you're running the same exact line, it's perfect, and then it just pushes out of nowhere into the wall. So that could be what happened there to Ryan Bird.
Well, that is always why, you know, as soon as I start to sense myself starting to drift into that zombie zone where you've done it the same way each and every lap, I got to wake myself up because of exactly that. You just don't know what to expect. It's like if you're driving down the highway, you've been driving for a long time, you know, you got to stay alert, you got to stay awake because something could happen. Somebody could spin out right in front of you. You could have a caution come out that you got to deal with and deal with that strategy, or the car could have a problem. Suddenly the tires could start to go. As you've said, it's not, it could go 20 laps in a row and feel exactly the same way every single lap. You don't have to make any adjustments to anything, your line, your inputs, anything. And then all of a sudden, the right front feels a little bit, oh, was that Arthur having a problem getting into the pits there? I believe it was. He just barely made the pit entry ahead of Senchek and Bird, but Yep, and so anyway, to finish that point, just like you said, Christian, all of a sudden, you just get to that one lap where all of a sudden, the right front hits, whatever, 49% instead of 51%, and all of a sudden, it just doesn't quite have that grip.
Yeah, it looks like Vincent was pushing it really hard into the pit road. You mentioned that he almost missed it. Yeah, I think he's got to get everything he can here. You know, he's got to be super aggressive in and super aggressive on the exit here to try anything to catch up to Kleba. So if he's going to be able to short pit him by 1 or 2 laps, that's going to help him, give him a chance to get up to Kleba. As you can see, he's on the exit now. You can see how loose that pit exit is. He's pushing it for everything he's got. Kleba's still out on the track too. He hasn't come in, so this is really good for Vincent Arthur. The more Kleba stays out there, the closer Vincent's going to get to him.
Indeed, and that also puts additional pressure on Kleba because he's going to have to make sure that his pit stop is extremely clean, because Vincent Arthur was able to get a very clean pit stop in. So here's battle going on right now, just behind for Jenks and Harper, and Senchek coming out behind this group.
Yeah, Jenks and Harper, they pit significantly earlier. They're already on about 10 lap tires here for Harper and Jenks. So Senchek should have no problem getting around them here within the next 10 laps. So I wouldn't expect them to stay in front of Senchek for too long.
Well, and yet they do have, I believe they have the ability to make it to the end on their fuel and tires. Jenks and Harper can. So they're not going to have to come back into the pits. Oh, somebody having difficulty getting into the pits. Was that Matthew Short? No.
That was Matt Tucker.
Tucker having real difficulty getting that one stopped. See if we can catch that one once again.
Yeah, that's a product of, not having the right brake bias, not practicing it in practice. He was really struggling to get that thing turned, and finally was able to.
Tell you what, it looked a lot more violent when we were watching it in real time from the front than on board, but still on board he had to cross over that white line. And Cody Reeder and Dustin Kleba still out there. Reeder's still out there. Kleba has already unlapped himself over Cody Reeder, so already making some progress. Currently, Cody Reeder just getting ready to bring it down onto pit road, I would imagine. There's Vincent Arthur just behind. He's going to try to unlap himself as well.
Yeah, and I thought Vincent Arthur pitting early would have helped him get closer to Kleba, but Kleba with a phenomenal pit stop, able to stay ahead of him by a long shot here. So Kleba, it's his race to lose at the moment.
Well, Kleba, 10.37 seconds in the box. I'm thinking he only took right side tires.
Ooh. So could Vincent, with his 4 tires, be able to catch Kleba?
This is a strong strategy call. I mean, we saw Arthur get snookered with the wrong tire strategy last week in Sonoma. Is he going to end up making the wrong call or the right call here tonight? It's a split strategy from what Dustin Kleba has done, and there's still plenty of time left to go. So if those left side tires start playing a role and start wearing too much. Now, the one thing that you would expect is that Kleba would have been looking at his wear percentages and making that decision this whole time along. And if the left sides just aren't wearing that much, then that might be a gamble that he's willing to take.
Yeah, I did take a look there at Kleba's stop, and only the right sides did go up, so he did not take left side tires.
There you go. Pretty amazing strategy call for Kleba. Heads up thinking to just take right sides, but again, we're so far out from the finish, like you said, Christian, I'm not entirely sure that this was the best call for him, but we'll find out. Kleba's got to win here in this series, and I don't, so he certainly... I'd take his strategy over mine.
Yeah, we got about 26 laps to go on those left side tires, so that's going to be stretching it.
Well, looking at the times right now, they're not very different. 29.70 for Kleba, 29.74 for Vincent Arthur. So if they're that close right now, you might think that, okay, in another 5 to 10 laps, we'll see that kind of crossover happen. But I just don't know if that's going to give Arthur enough time to go chase down Kleba.
Well, he's already got it within 3 seconds, so he's definitely, I think, catching him slowly. But I don't know if 25 laps is enough time for him to catch him.
Well, we watch on here. We're looking at Tom Senchek. He's had an amazing race so far in his debut. Thought it might have been a chance for him to take victory. Still could be theoretically, but right now he's sitting in a virtual 3rd place on the track. Cody Reeder for KPR Motorsports, he's held it out there for a very, very long time, since lap 112. Now he loops it coming into the pits.
Not able to save it. Oh,
smacks the wall, and I hope he gets it going again and it doesn't bring out a caution, because that would really, I'm sure, upset Dustin Kleba.
Well, not only Kleba, but also Kristen Berry and Conover too. If that was a caution and theirs wasn't, that they would be very, very upset.
In the meantime, poor Kristen Berry has managed to recover to 17th place. He keeps that car going around the track. And Conover in 16th place. So they continue several laps down now. But what was looking like such a solid run for those two has instead kind of opened the door for a couple of other drivers to get up towards the front. Matthew George in 12th place, still holding out of that top 10, and we await him to make his approach towards the top 5. This is a side-by-side battle happening right now. Brendan Jenks, are they going to go 3 wide? You got Timmy Harper right in there. Ryan Bird now right on the back bumper of Brandon Jenks.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, Ryan Bird has fresher tires than these two, so he's going to need to make quick work of them. And that's what he's going to do. He's going to push Brendan Jenks past Tim Harper, and now he's going to try to get underneath Jenks here in turn 1. It looks like Jenks going to take a high entry, so that's going to allow Bird to have clean air and get by Harper. And now he's going to have a run coming out of turn 2 to try to get by Jenks.
If he can make this pass, this will be a very skilled pass indeed, and it does look like he's going to be able to do that, and that's exactly what you would expect of a veteran driver to do. But of course, Brendan Jenks and Ryan Bird just brand new to NORA here this last week, and now Jenks and Timothy Harper continue their battle just behind. That is for that final top 5 position.
And Tim Harper got real close to Jenks that last lap. He was right on the corner. I thought he was going to turn him there, but they were able to keep it off of each other. But Tim Harper, he's going to want that top 5. Every point's going to matter for him here. And Brendan Jenks, he's not running for driver's points, whereas Harper also not running for driver's points. So this is just for owners here.
Owners and a bit of pride, as you know. Taking top 5s, adding to that top 5 win column always feels good. Doesn't matter whether it's official racing, league racing, whatever. And certainly, even though they may not finish officially in the championship, they are counted in the driver's points in terms of you can see where you would finish in the driver's points. So they may not be able to get top 3 or take the championship, but they can tell where they would have finished. And Tim Harper, there's a lot of pride on the line. He really wants to finish well each and every time out. As the owner there at Harper Motorsports, he's kind of leading the way, especially here tonight. There's no other Harper Motorsports teammates in the field, is there?
No, the 22 is out of the race, I believe. He was the only other teammate. That was Christopher Heights.
thought, wasn't Heights racing for Cody Height tonight?
Yeah, he was filling in for Cody Height, which Cody Height races for Harper Motorsports.
Why did I have Height down as independent? Well, we can talk about that off the air. 16 laps to go here for Kleba up on the wheel for KPR Motorsports. He's been driving a solid race all night tonight. He took the first 2 stage wins, and he's never really looked in his rear view. I mean, he did have a little bit of a battle with Vincent Arthur and Tom Senchak initially, but once he was able to take over this lead, I think he's just had the feeling like this could be his night. Vincent Arthur once again running in that second position, and it's been a lot of races in a row that Vincent hasn't been able to get out there and be in that top spot that we were so used to seeing him running in. He was practically dominant each week. And here he's racing in second, so doing a fantastic job. And I'll tell you what, he could win this championship just by getting second places. So don't think that you got to go out there, you got to win every single race. Running in second is a solid way to take the regular season championship and possibly the overall championship. But with a guy like Dustin Kleba, at some point, you're probably going to have to mount that challenge to be able to go up there and take those race victories. Tom Senchak, he's been having a solid race in his debut. What a great run for this late Apex Racing driver. And I mean, very easily we could see him taking a race victory before the end of this season. He has shown so much promise. Ryan Bird backing up what he did last week at Sonoma. 2 very different disciplines, and showing that he is someone. I mean, we've got a couple more road courses coming up, several more road courses coming up. So in fact, next week at Chicago, this is it's going to be Ryan Bird territory all over again. And now he's going to show well in the top 5 here today. Brendan Jinks in front of Brady Motes. Brady for Ready Direct Racing, Brendan for JRC Sim Team, and of course Brady fighting for regular season points in that Drivers' Championship. Brendan Jinks just racing for owners points. So right now Brady would like to get that position, get a couple more points on the tally. But either way, both of these drivers having a solid run. We haven't talked about Jinks before, and Brady Motes also. This is going to be yet another consistent finish for him. And I think it was only a few races ago, Christian, that you and I were talking about Brady Motes and saying how he was competitive and up there in the top 5 and he could qualify well, but he just wasn't getting the finishes. Now it's like last week he got 3rd place. This week it's looking at another top 5 potential. I mean, Brady Motes has really turned it around.
Hey, that knee injury, it helped him. I don't know how, but it helped him.
Absolutely. I mean, whatever he's been doing to rehab from that knee injury, it certainly has helped him to try to get it done, and we'll see whether or not he can try and steal this final top 5 position here tonight. Meantime, just behind, it's Timmy Harper. He's gained 6 spots here tonight, having a solid run. Taking a look underneath.
Oh, that's tight.
That is very tight. He's trying to get that position away from Dunford, but hopefully Harper won't reach too far into that grab bag of tricks to try to pull off that position. Harper, and we did get yellow for Cody Reeder.
Oh, man. Wow.
He's torn off the whole front of that car.
And now with Kleba, he's got to be real mad at Cody Reeder for this one. Unless it's not Reeder's fault.
Well, we're going to find out here in just a moment, but it does not appear to be anyone's fault but Reeder.
Oh, just tank slapped it, went to correct it, and that is a terrible, terrible angle to hit the wall at. We're thankful that this is not real life, because Reeder may need to go to the infield care center and may get airlifted after that one. Watch this hit. Wow.
Well,
that's the hardest one I've seen in a while right there.
let's also be thankful that he did not collect anybody, especially his own teammate, as has happened already before with Dustin Kleba. But this is absolutely not what Dustin Kleba wanted to see happen.
Here he comes. He's coming to pits.
He's forced to come down pit road and take on fresh tires. He knows it.
Is someone going to gamble, maybe take 2 tires? Is Kleba going to take 2? You know, he's on those old left side tires. So who's going to take 4? Who's going to take 2? This is going to be interesting to see.
Well, I tell you, it's also interesting because a couple of drivers are going to stay out there. You got Kulikowski, Conover, and Engel, who are going to stay out there on the track. And so I don't know if they were they a lap down?
I think they were all 1 lap down.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So they were the only ones that were
Kleba
shown still
2
out
again.
there.
Vincent with 2 as well. Looks like Blade Timmons maybe taking 2.
Timmons taking 2, Dunford taking 2, Senchek taking 4. And again, like we just saw, I don't know that there's much of a percentage to taking 4 tires at this stage. They're just not going to have enough time to really pay off in the results. But will Arthur possibly take a shot at it? And, you know, take a look at Blade Timmons now up into that 3rd spot. What a great move for him.
Yeah, the only way that Vincent Arthur is going to be able to do anything here is if he borderline jumps the restart, because Kleba has been lights out on these restarts all night, so Vincent's got to time it perfect if he wants to challenge Kleba here.
Well, we're going to take a momentary break here on VirtualRacing.Network. We will be right back with the conclusion of this one. You won't want to miss it. Is it going to be Kleba, Arthur, or Timmons? We'll find out. Stay tuned. And welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. It has been a fun race so far. We thought we were going to see Dustin Kleba walk away with this one. But here for round number 20 of the NORA Cup Series 2023, we have a big old shakeup for the end of this race. Caution flies, and now it is going to be anyone's race to take. Kleba taking 2 tires, Arthur taking 2 tires, Dunford 2 tires, and Timmons 2 tires. Everyone else pretty much taking 4. Tom Senchek there starting in 5th place. Is he going to have something to say about this? Well, here we go. Stand by as we're about to go green here.
Green flag, green flag.
And we are underway once again here at Nashville.
I tell you what, Dunford was bumping Kleba a lot there coming to the line. I don't know if maybe Kleba is going to get penalized for that, for getting on the gas pedal a little bit too early. We'll have to see. But Dunford going to clear Vincent here for second. Oh, he's going to try to cut him off there, but not able to. Vincent going to get around him on the outside. And now we see, it looks like Senchek and Blade Timmons getting into each other.
A lot of moving and shaking throughout the field, but the battle is here in second place as Arthur tries to hold second place over Brandon Dunford. Dunford for Nightmare Motorsports looking to have his best finish of the season. Arthur fighting with everything he's got to hold on to second. Tom Senchek on the outside of third. We've got trouble a little bit further back.
Caution again. That is the 49 of Ryan Bird.
That is Ryan Bird, who unfortunately we are also seeing Kristen Berry as well has gotten into the wall, but Ryan Bird goes from a almost guaranteed podium position, and we're going to get a green-white checkered here, I believe.
Yes, we will. We will get the first green-white checkered out of, I believe, 3 attempts.
So unfortunate stuff for Bird. Let's jump back and take a look at what happened. This was just moments ago. Bird there with Jenks, and he kind of drifts up the track and into Jenks.
Ooh.
And Kristen Berry just coming along on the bottom of the track. Really no place for him to go, unfortunately.
I'll tell you what, Ryan Bird was a pinball right there. He got hit by about, I think, 4 different cars. He's going to make contact here with Jenks. He's going to go around, get hit by the 3, then the 7, then the 8, and someone else, and then Jake Christenberry. My goodness.
Well, for those of you in the Kristen Berry fan club, you may not want to watch this one. It's just adding a little bit of salt to the wound, but this is what it looked like from on board with Kristen Berry coming down this straightaway and tries to take evasive action, and it's not what you want to see, a face full of car in front of you.
Nothing he could have done differently. He was trying to predict where everything was going to go. You know, typically it's an outside feeding track, but he went low, and you know, Ryan Bird just happened to come right across his nose.
Well, we're seeing a couple of cars come down here onto pit lane. I guess Conover and Engel felt like they had tires to take.
Well, they took the wave around. Yeah, they took the wave around last time, so they were on very old tires.
Well, so it worked out quite well for them. They're going to have very lot of cars to work their way through, but we'll get to reset again. This time it'll be Kleba, Arthur, Dunford, Timmons, and Senchek. Well, I guess it's the exact same order we started before, but this time it's going to feel a little bit different, I feel like. And they haven't done the choose cone yet?
They haven't yet, but I want to talk about that last restart. You know, we saw Dunford bumping Kleba before the restart zone. There's, you know, the new rule in iRacing that you're not allowed taking off until you're in that restart zone. So with Dunford pushing Kleba, it was making his speed go up. So I was worried that iRacing might have black flagged him there for that.
Well, I don't see him.
Yeah, it didn't. He's lucky, but Dunford probably got a warning for bumping Kleba too much there on the start.
So all good so far in terms of iRacing penalties. These drivers choosing which side of the track they want to start in. And again, love to have all of you joining us here on VirtualRacing.Network. I'm Trevor Gradefield. You're listening to my co-announcer here in the booth. That's Christian Snyder. And we're going to be carrying you all through the NORA Cup and Truck Series action right here on VirtualRacing.Network through the rest of the season and all of the playoffs. So you won't want to miss it. Make sure to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and like this video if you're enjoying what you're seeing. This is gearing up to be an awesome finish to this one. We're going to see whether or not anybody has anything to say about whether Dustin Kleba takes this victory, because he has been practically unstoppable tonight. Vincent Arthur, though, if he can just hold with Kleba, he may be able to make a lunge at him. And who can count out Brandon Dunford? He's had a great run here tonight. It's already running in third. He's kind of running on other people's money at the moment. He's in new uncharted territory up here looking for a podium. Why not give it a send and go for second or first?
Yeah, I know someone who's really happy about that 20 car being in third, and that's Nick Geilis, the owner of that team. He's got those Neon Knights cars. He once won on the podium for sure.
Ronnie Norman checking in. Going to be a great finish, or going to be a fun finish. Wish I was up there to shake things up. And Megan Beadle, sad night for the Christenberry fan club tonight. Keeping our hopes up, we get a podium soon. Love you, bub. To, of course, Jake. And certainly we appreciate you and the whole fan club checking in with us each and every week here. Megan and Jake, great team to have out here in the NORA Cup Series. But right now, we've got 6 different teams represented in the top 6 positions, and that just speaks well to how competitive it is here in the NORA Cup Series. Who's it going to be? Can we get through a green flag lap and call this one officially? We're going to find out. Dustin Kleba leads it back to green here in Nashville.
Yeah, Vincent couldn't really do anything there on that restart. Kleba went as soon as he was able to go, and Vincent was unable to predict that. And now Dunford.
No! Vincent Arthur.
Oh, a terrible crash for Vincent Arthur.
Crashing and spinning, and I have no idea whether he got help on that one, but I have a feeling that he did. Dunford now sits in second place, and Senchek in third. Arthur sits wrecked on the backstretch, and
I don't think he got help. It looks like he got loose, and then it tank slapped into the wall. Watch this here.
Well, let's jump on board here and see if we can tell exactly what happened.
It starts getting a little loose, and yeah, same thing. And man, that was a hard hit. I think that was harder than the last one we just saw with Reeder. That was a terrible crash for Vincent Arthur. And those types are the worst. Whenever you try to recorrect it to the right and then hit the wall, the wheel likes to snap out of your hands. But that car is destroyed.
Well, let me ask you this. Any chance that the right side, left side differential on the tires could have played a role there?
I don't think so. It might have, because whenever he turned right, the right side tire wanted to grip more, so it pulled him to the wall. That could be a factor in it, but I don't know. I mean, that's odd to see from Vincent Arthur getting loose and unable to save it. But, I said it earlier, once these cars get loose, they're almost impossible to save. You're either going to go into the wall to the right or around to the left. So that's kind of been the story all night. Once we see people getting loose, it's either around they go or into the wall.
So it's going to give yet another chance for these drivers, but no Vincent Arthur going to be part of this top finish conversation. No Vincent Arthur potential on this podium any longer. Unfortunately, Arthur, he's bailed out. I think that's it for him.
Probably not happy.
Well, and I imagine probably too much damage after that one for him to sit in the car too. Kleba going to be starting once again on the top spot. We'll see how Dunford, Senchek, and Timmons choose. Matt Tucker now up into the top 5. Brady Motes into 6th place. Jacob Gladelich into 7th place. Kulikowski now finds himself in 8th, and Josh Conover in 9th, with Chad Engel your top 10 at the moment. And I guess kind of surprised we don't just magically see Matthew George up there in like 6th place right now, but could happen before this one's over. We still possibly have some more green-white checkers to go. But Kleba has been practically undefeatable on these restarts. We'll see whether or not he can get another magical restart as they go through the choose cone right now.
Oh, look at this. Dunford going to choose the inside. That's going to give Senchek the front row.
Well, that is, I mean, I didn't expect Dunford to do that. I think Senchek probably didn't either, and he's probably just happier than all can be because, as we know, Senchek was up there earlier this race. He had something for Kleba. He had something for Bird. And now he gets his chance once again to try to challenge in his debut on VirtualRacing.Network for a win.
Yeah, he's got to predict the start, though. I mean, we've seen, Kleba choose different times to go. He's just got to predict it correctly and go at the same exact time to even have a chance here. Dunford's probably going to be pushing Kleba's bumper into the restart zone, so that could be a factor. Kleba could spin the tires from that. We have a lot that could still happen here as we get to 1 to green this time by. The truck passing out. The lights are off. There he goes.
This is some exciting stuff. And again, it's going to be different for Senchek this time because, of course, he was restarting behind other cars heading up to that green flag. So he's a bit limited in what he could do. But here, being on that outside front row, you've just got to gauge what that leader is doing and see if you can hold with them. And there's some tricks, Christian, as you know. There are some tricks.
Oh, yeah.
If you're in second place to trying to hang with that leader heading into that green flag. So we'll see how many skills. But again, you're talking about Dustin Kleba, 4,100. Tom Senchek, 4,200. I mean, even Brandon Dunford, 2,700. Blade Timmons, 4,600. You do not get that high of an I rating unless you know some of these tricks and you know how to stay with the leader on restarts. You get smoked in a top split race if you don't know how to stay with the leader on a restart. So we'll see whether or not Senchek can do exactly that as the sun begins to set here in Nashville. The sky turns a beautiful pinkish orange. We're about to see whether or not we get through this race here on this green, white checkered, and Senchek just gets totally burned. Dunford stays in second place. Matt Tucker now up into third. Senchek is just
Senchek with a problem,
having all kinds of difficulty. If we can get through this one.
Oh, trouble. Timmons around.
Timmons and Moats. Oh, and Timmons going for quite a ride there.
Oh, man.
And
no caution, though. We are still green. Kleba and Dunford up front. Kleba going to take the white flag. No caution. We're going to end this thing with a checkered flag, not a caution flag. Here they come. Dunford trying to do something in 1 and 2.
I don't know if Dunford can do anything, but just behind you've got Matt Tucker, who looks like he's about to get swallowed alive by Conover. And here comes Jinx as well. This is trying to get up there for that third spot. They can sense the blood in the water, but here comes Conover trying to steal that third place. I think he will, unless Jinx can manage to do it. Kleba taking the victory. Brandon Dunford in second. And Josh Conover steals third position in the final lap. Brendan Jinx, a hard-fought fourth place, and Jacob Gladelich in fifth place. I'll tell you what, that's 4 owners' points cars in the top 5, with Dustin Kleba able to steal this victory. And as a result of Vincent Arthur dropping out of this one, Kleba's going to put a lot of points up there on the board compared to his rivals in this championship.
Yeah, and we got to go back and see what exactly happened with Blade Timmons and Brady Moats. Unfortunately, they wrecked with 2 to go, and they won't be able to finish this race, I believe. So we got to see exactly what happened. I'm thinking Blade maybe got a little bit loose and collected Brady Moats here.
Actually, that's a little bit too far. I mean, they wrecked for a long time, according to our software. Okay, so we'll see if we can get overhead and check this one out.
You can see Blade Timmons in the black car there behind the 3. He's going to look above his teammate, Matt Tucker, just going to get loose again. And instead of tank slapping it over to the right, he goes down with Moats. And my goodness, that hit. If you ride on board with Blade Timmons, that is a dizzy washing machine type spin.
Well, get ready for an e-ticket ride here on VirtualRacing.Network.
Man, those hurt, with the wheels spinning around whenever you go around like that. Those are the ones that hurt your wrists.
Well, and now this is what Brady Moats saw.
Yeah, he's just along for the ride here, and then he hits the wall a ton with his driver's side.
Man, that beautiful number 15 reduced to a pile of rubble in the span of about 100 yards.
Yeah, you can see that left front tire is not connected to anything anymore. It's not moving.
Well, unfortunate go there for those drivers, and Kleba has managed to...
Kleba blew the motor.
He burned it down here on this front straightaway, saluting the fans. Let's go ahead and take a momentary break. We'll be right back with the final results of round number 20 for the NORA Cup Series and a chance to chat with our top 3 finishers in the Abbey Sweet Treats victory lane. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. You saw it live right here. It was Dustin Kleba, who never really had to face much of a challenge for that top spot, but that second, third, fourth, and fifth position, it changed hands many times. Congratulations to Dustin Kleba taking victory for KPR Motorsports. In second place, hard-fought victory for Brandon Dunford in his best finish here on VirtualRacing.Network. Josh Conover, what more can be said? He was outside the top 10 through at least half of the race, but it's only the last lap that matters. He ends up in third place here, taking the final podium spot. Fourth place going to Brendan Jinks, who also had a fabulous race, and this is his best finish here on VirtualRacing.Network. And Jacob Kladelich manages to creep into that top 5 for JRC Sim Team as well, so JRC has a lot to celebrate between those two. Matthew George, there he is, right outside the top 5. Consistency has been one of his strong suits, getting 6th place here tonight. Timmy Harper in 7th place for Harper Motorsports. Chad Engel in 8th for Brian Powell Motorsports. 9th going to Justin Moody. 10th to Matt Tucker. 11th to Tom Senchek. After all of that hard work, unfortunately, to end up in 11th, he'll, I'm sure, be back and ready to challenge for the lead next time out. Brady Motes in 12th place. He had such a great race going, and to finish a lap down does not speak to how consistent Brady was running here tonight. Adam Kolakowski finishing in 13th. Blade Timmons in 14th. Chris Heitz in 15th. Ryan Bird, a sad way to finish this race, all the way back there in 16th place. Vincent Arthur as well, and Jake Christenberry, 16th, 17th, and 18th. And those are 3 drivers that were all front runners here tonight. Just behind them, Cody Reeder as well, Ronnie Norman, and Zach Hollinger. And Zach barely got in much racing tonight, but it was all Dustin Kleba here tonight. But I'll tell you what, he managed to pull off an amazing victory and a couple of stage victories as well. But the driver who finished in 3rd, it's the head honcho here in NORA, Josh Conover. And Christian, I think you've had a chance to catch up with the man himself.
Yeah, Josh Conover finishes 3rd tonight. Josh, we talked earlier today, and you said no way you're getting a podium tonight. You didn't like this track, and you kind of almost lucked into it here with those cautions at the end. You took 4 fresh tires there on that last one, and worked your way through the field into 3rd. So tell us how your race went throughout the night, and how it feels to get a podium at a track that you're not too fond of.
Lucking into a spot, or I guess as the NASCAR fellas say, what is it, backing into it? Yeah, that's kind of what happened there. I think Tucker was running out of fuel looking back at it. I think probably had him anyway, but nah, just didn't get a yellow when I spun. That's actually what I was just talking to Kleba and Dunford about. I probably could have had it saved, but for some reason I got up on the left front shock and it wanted to jerk back up the track, so I kind of just yeeted myself to the inside, not wanting to wreck anybody, and needed a yellow, and obviously we got it, took the wave around, and needed that next yellow to get some freshies and have somewhat of a shot. But nah, I was probably an 8th place car, probably at best, and obviously sometimes you gotta be more lucky than good, and to be talking to you after the race, that's a lot of luck for sure.
Yeah, we saw earlier you and Christenberry both lost it at the same exact part of the track, and you know, we were talking about it, how iRacing, you know, loves to not throw cautions when it should be and loves to throw cautions when it shouldn't be. So that was unfortunate that a caution didn't come out for you. But how was the track tonight? Was it more loose or on the tight side? Because we didn't really see anybody necessarily getting loose or tight more than the other. So how was the track?
Well, funny enough, I've kind of had the same mindset for our NORA 500 setup that we have right now. I think it almost depended on like your entry, because I know a couple times, like early in the run, if I could paint the yellow line on entry and through the corner, it seemed to kind of trend towards the freer side. But obviously, like if you missed the mark by that little bit, and you know you didn't hook the bottom, it would kind of lean towards the tighter side. But you know, even like I said, for my spin and blade right there at the end, for some reason, like even if we would back the entry up, it would just plow, and all of a sudden just snaps loose. And then obviously, like I said, blade obviously got Brady there at the end in his spin, but it's kind of weird. I don't know if that's kind of just the next gen thing with the pinion and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know. Like I said, because there was a couple laps where I was free, and then like I said, I'd miss my marks and it would kind of fade back to the tight side. So I would say Cleveland could probably give you a better answer, because he was obviously lights out again. But at least I know for me and a couple teammates, it was kind of that same feeling. Like I said, just if you could hit your marks, it could free up a little bit, but otherwise it seemed to be a little on the tight side.
Well, me and Trevor were talking about it throughout the race. Whenever I was behind the wheel of these cars, once you get loose, it's so impossible to catch it. It's either you're going into the grass or into the outside wall. There's no in between for this car. So, you know, good rebound from that. Congrats on the top 3. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we send you on your way?
Well, real quick too, I think Vince and I actually jinxed myself, because we were both saying, just to kind of go off what you just said, you know, it's kind of hard to save them and this and that. And then we both said early in the race, like, oh, this is the first time I feel like I've been able to get loose and save it. And then sure enough, I spun, and then Vince there at the end did the same thing. Got tight and then just snapped on him, and then he spun. So I guess we cursed ourselves with that one. But no, you guys for the broadcast, and normally I like to watch them in general, but whenever I can snag a podium or something, I definitely like to tune in, because you know it helps out when you run good. You get to go back and see, you know, if you can improve on some things. Abby's Sweet Treats, I think Ronnie said this is her final week with us, so thank you to her for obviously coming on board. Everybody that showed up, it was a bad race on my end, but as a whole, you know, good race. Just kind of joking with Vincent, you know, rather than it being just Cleveland and him pulling away, it was nice having, you know, a third guy that was able to run with them. Tom ran great for his first night running for points. It's like I said, it's just a good night, no yellows until the end, and then obviously, you know, you can't really ask for much more. Everybody's getting aggressive and going for it, so you kind of expect the cautions at that point. But hopefully that last lap battle for third was something to watch and made you get on the edge of your seat for.
All right, and before we let you go, next week we're going to Chicago. How do you feel about the Chicago street course?
I will not be there. I haven't purchased it, and as of right now, I don't plan on it, especially not running for points. So,
right.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how I feel about it for the real life race, and then for us, like I said, I don't know. That's one track I'm glad the trucks don't go to. I would rather run the Nürburgring 6 times over than than go there from the videos I've seen. So I don't know. I might guilt myself into it and at least just start in park so I can get points for the 25. But otherwise, I'll probably be a spectator in the broadcast.
All right. Well, I would say good luck next week, but good luck next time we see you, and hopefully you can get back into victory lane soon, man.
I believe it'll be the truck actually here next Monday, if I'm not mistaken. So obviously I will run that one, and then I'll take Tuesday off, like I said. But I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep. And Trevor, were you able to get second place?
In fact, I was able to catch up with second place. Managed to grab a chance to chat with Brandon Dunford, who managed to take second with an amazing run here tonight. And we were watching him throughout this entire race. Brandon, what a fantastic finish to come in second. I mean, we were tracking with you the whole way through, saying this is going to be his best finish of virtual racing yet. And you managed to get all the way up into second. How did you do it tonight? What were the secrets? And it must feel really cool to have that beautiful paint scheme up all the way up into second place. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So obviously, first and foremost, I want to thank Nightmare Motorsports for unloading such a fast car. I think, man, some of the secret was just tire management. I think that was the biggest thing. A lot of guys were shifting, some guys weren't. So managing that shift or not shift, and then managing the tires was just the key to being able to continue those long runs and stay competitive enough to even be up there in the front.
Well, it looked solid from you, and you seem to have that little bit of an advantage anytime we closed in on you being in a battle with somebody. But talk about avoiding incidents tonight. It seemed like there at the end with the green-white checkers and everything, just avoiding getting caught up in something. What's it like to have to keep your head on a swivel and paying attention to everything? Do you have a secret for it? Do you slap yourself in the face several times before you get to going again? Or how do you stay on top of it knowing that anything could happen at any moment?
It's hard. You definitely gotta definitely be able to execute when you're there and in those positions. Me and Nick talked about it. I've had a lot of close runs to potentially get up in the podium, and like you said, keeping your head on a swivel and execute. When those you get to the end of the race, those guys start to get more and more aggressive. So you gotta expect what's coming, right? You gotta like Benson. We're getting in a good little battle there, and he, got a little too much and turned him. So stuff like that, those are the kind of things that once it gets, into that late run, you got to start anticipating things like that, and just make sure that you do everything you can to execute from your point of view to just continue to hit your marks and just try to stay out of the mayhem as best you can.
Well, talk about finally the taking two tires tonight. That played a big role up at the front. How did you feel about tires? Was there a point where you said, yes, I can just take two tires, or no, I need to take four tires? What was your feel? What was your take on it in Nashville?
Well, the take is definitely that it was working. The two tires, once the car, about 10 to 15 laps into the run, the car would just come alive on 4 or 2. I mean, it was kind of the same either way. The tire fall off wasn't bad at all. So taking 2 was definitely the call, especially the later the run we got. Obviously, we played around with it a little bit on taking 4 in the beginning, taking none to try to just salvage the best we could, and then taking 2, and then back to 4, and then 2, just to continue to try to see what we could do and what would be the best run for the car. But 2 was definitely the call, especially with a short run. And it was just amazing how well the 2 tires worked. Even against guys with 4 tires, you could still manage to stay with them just because that car was already somewhat dialed in and running really well. So, 2 tires and just period was just the best call right there at the end.
Well, it was a fantastic run and a great chance to get Nightmare up there into second place on the podium, and just one step off of taking victory here tonight. Anybody you'd like to give a thanks to before we roll on with the broadcast?
Yeah, again, I want to thank Nightmare Motorsports again. I even got to give out a shout out to my boy Norman. I know when I come across that line, I even said it to my teammates that Norman would be proud of me. He's taught me a lot. He's helped me out a lot, so I definitely want to shout out to him. And then, of course, everybody, as far as the competitors, man, everybody just did a good job racing tonight. So clean. I love racing with these guys. So competitive. Even, door banging and all that takes place, and everybody's just so clean. And then, of course, everything that y'all do all the sponsors and every race control, everybody that makes this happen. Just thank them too.
Absolutely. We're always so pleased to be able to cover yourself and as you mentioned, these great competitors and your team owner, Nick Geilis, checking in. Woo, Dunford's podium. Monkey finally off his back, hopefully first of many more. So got some great fans out there, and we'll look forward to seeing many more from you in the future, Brandon. Congratulations. And by the way, you're just over in Milton. I'm over in Panama City. We're going to have to meet up and do some racing sometime.
Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So that's Brandon Dunford. He steals second place here tonight for Nightmare Motorsports, and I think we're also going to get a chance to chat with our winner if I can get over there to him. And we do. We have him in the booth now. In fact, Dustin Kleba in the Abbey Sweet Treats Victory Circle, and congratulations, another victory here on VirtualRacing.Network. I mean, what more can be said? It was a dominant win here tonight. How did you do it? And how great does it feel to just absolutely dominate the field here?
Oh man, I got North Wilkesboro and Charlotte flashbacks all over again in this one. I thought we were gonna cruise to the end, and then Cody tried to take me out again, and
Yeah.
he had wheel problems. So again, nothing of his fault. But
that was the first thing I was checking to see if Cody was anywhere near you when he crashed.
Yeah, I come around the corner and I see him in the middle of the track and his bumper flying at me, and I just cannot believe what I'm seeing again. But no, at least this time it worked out for in our favor. We were able to survive the restarts, and I really think there's probably a good 3-4 of us that were pretty close. I mean, the stat sheet says I led a lot of laps, but honestly, there's probably 3 or 4 of us that were running pretty close in lap times. And the end there, that last long green flag run, I tried to use some strategy to give me a little bit extra space, and then it all went away with that caution coming out, and we just had to survive the carnage, and luckily we did.
Well, and Christian was on top of it, noticing the time in the box was only about 10 seconds for you to Vincent, about 14, 15 seconds. So at what point did you make that call to go to 2 tires? Because of course, you managed to carry that over the green flag run there that followed it, and then it all got messed up when we got to the yellow flag. But that was an incredible strategy decision. It actually got you a couple of seconds gap. What made you decide to do two tires instead of 4?
Yeah, really, just during practice, I did a half a fuel run, and then came in, took 2 tires, and usually I try to do that to try and gauge, okay, how long of a run can I do before I can't do 2 tires. And in practice, I ran a good 30, 33 laps, which happened to be about the same that I would run at the end of the stage there. And I came in, took my 2 tires, and I came out, and I was actually running about 2.5 tenths faster than when I had 4 tires. So then I didn't know if it was a combination of rubber being laid down, because when we started practice there's no rubber down, so by the end of practice we had some rubber, so I'm sure that added to a little bit, but it just overall felt really good. And then it was just a lot of teamwork also. I was relaying that information to Cody throughout the race, and Cody tried it a couple of times and he said that it was feeling pretty good for him too. And I just asked him, I was like, look buddy, I got about a second lead, I'm slowly pulling away but not a ton. What do you think you do here? And he was really the one that convinced me to give her a go, and I couldn't have imagined it worked out as good as it did. Not only did I get a bigger lead out of everybody else, but I think I actually started pulling everybody too on the long run. So it almost looked like an absolute genius move, but the caution had to come out and make things interesting.
And indeed, it did make it interesting. And as you said, caution after caution, as we saw Arthur leave us, and then multiple other drivers leave and vacate the top 5. But ultimately, it didn't really matter because nobody could stay with you on those restarts. What do you think it's going to take to win this overall championship? Is it just more of the same of what you've been able to do here tonight? Do you think you're going to see some of these other drivers like Vincent Arthur go back to the drawing board, sharpen up his tools, and come back and be able to fight you for some more of these victories? What lies ahead for us, especially as we head next week to another road course at Chicago?
Yeah, right now my goal is just to build that gap as much as I can to hopefully lock myself into the final four before the playoffs even start. So I know Vincent's got a really good lead already. He's been running all season, and I kind of got a late start. But I mean, my goal is just get as many stage points and playoff points as possible. Like I said, to just make my playoffs a lot easier. But right now it's just kind of coasting, being consistent, put yourself into new situations, figure out how to get out of situations, and just have good overall racecraft, and have fun every once in a while. That always helps. But I mean, Vincent's not going anywhere. He's gonna come back like crazy. I just know in the postseason he's gonna step it up another level, and looks like we got some new players joining us this week that I just have a hunch that they're not going away anytime soon either. So I think postseason is definitely going to be pretty interesting, but right now it's all about gaining points as much as we can and just have a good time.
Well, there was a time in this race where it looked pretty assured that we would see at least one, if not two, late Apex Racing drivers, Ryan Bird and Tom Senchek. Senchek having his debut here tonight up there on the podium with yourself. But certainly, as you said, that is something to look forward to in the future, and I think it's not always going to be quite so easy to snag these victories. Anybody that you like to thank for your victory tonight before we close this one out?
Yeah, absolutely. I just got to thank my family. They watch every single week. Even when I forget to remind them, they still remember to watch. Got my buddy Garrett out there. I know he's out supporting our team, not only myself, but spots with Cody on Mondays. So I know he's out there watching, and Abby Sweet Treats, of course, for supporting. I mean, we aren't a big league by any means, but it's good to have local people out there supporting us. So thanks to them, and of course, you two up in the booth, keeping it an all-star job as usual. I can't wait to watch her back tomorrow.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure, Dustin. Thanks for putting on an awesome show and bringing a great challenge every week. And yeah, I mean, honestly, you got to keep somebody like Vincent Arthur honest. Otherwise, he's the type of driver that will walk away with something like this. And it's been fun to see yourself and other newcomers come in and be able to at least challenge him. So congratulations. We'll see you next week at Chicago, my friend.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
So that is Dustin Kleba, just fresh in off the track. And I mean, Christian, this is just turning into the sweetest of all races for and championships for him. And of course, as I'm mentioning, sweet. Why don't we go ahead and put in what is at least, hopefully not our final ever plug, but at least our final plug this week for Abby Sweet Treats Home Bakery. They make cookies like you can't even dream of because they're so good. They'll make you feel great inside. Artistically designed cookies made by Abby herself. And you can get cake pops. You can get Oreo cookie pies. You can get, look at this. That was for Mom's Day. Beautiful, creative cookie designs, brownies. You could order like a couple dozen of these things for whatever party you're going to have coming up. Make sure to head on over and see Abby, the owner, in Plymouth, Minnesota. It's 812-264-1624. abcob@gmail.com. Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and Twitter. And, of course, make sure you tell them that you saw them featured here on our broadcast. And they can also send you an invoice over email, so you just pay it that way, and they'll send them right out in the mail, and you get them in the mail. So head on over to Abby Sweet Treats Home Bakery. And hey, Christian, this was something else here tonight. I mean, this is... I mean, some of these drivers, they love Nashville. Most of them don't really like Nashville, but we saw a lot of scrapping for position, and certainly there, Dustin Kleba proving once again, everybody better take notice. This guy is a serious championship contender this season.
Yeah, definitely by far, I would say the favorite for Kleba. You were talking to him there about Vincent Arthur maybe trying to rework his craft and try to touch where Kleba's at right now. It's going to be a hard-fought battle for Vincent. It's possible. And now with these new guys too, they could have a shot at possibly getting the upset win late in the season. There's a lot of guys that, they could pull it off. Tim Harper earlier in the season, he won at Phoenix, so anybody can win at Phoenix. It doesn't have to be Cleva. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens at the end of this season.
Well, our next broadcast here, Christian, will be next Monday. That'll be the NORA Truck Series. They'll be here at Nashville Super Speedway, so everything that anyone learned here tonight that's racing in the trucks, they'll get a chance to put that to use next Monday. But next Tuesday, we'll be off to Chicago for the road course. That should be a lot of fun. I haven't even downloaded that track yet, but I'm looking forward to it. It's another cool street course, and I've seen lots of videos on it. Unlike Josh, I think it looks pretty cool. I'd like to run around there and see what it's like. But that'll be fun next Tuesday. Of course, we do have the NORA 500. That will be an event that you'll want to mark on your calendar. That'll be coming up July the 3rd. That'll be the same week that the NORA Cup Series has off. And then in the very near future, we'll be also bringing in the Icon Series. That'll be in July. So with that, I'm going to say so long on behalf of all of the NORA admin, the competitors, and my friend Christian Snyder, who's been so gracious to join me here in the booth. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your night. And if you're not already a subscriber, make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit the like button, and we'll see you next time here on VirtualRacing.Network. Bye-bye, everybody.